Welcome to our IMT video. We are Tom, François and Axel, and today we are going to talk about the ABC analysis. This video will be about books. You might be asking yourself, why books? Well, the answer is simple. We are going to use the inventory data of a bookshop to conduct our ABC analysis. The bookshop that we are going to talk about is called L'Armitière, and it's located in Rouen in the north of France. Today, we are going to analyze an inventory with over 3,000 different units. This corresponds to all the books that the bookshop had in its shelves in 2017. As you might guess, it is impossible to manage such a large inventory item by item, as it would be extremely time-consuming and costly. As a result, managers have to use inventory management methods, allowing them to deal with such large inventories. The main objectives of such methods is to ensure the targeted service level while optimizing costs associated with holding and ordering stock-keeping units. The inventory management methods that we are going to use in this situation is the ABC analysis. This technique divides the inventory into categories of items according to the monetary value. As we just said before, one of the defining features of an efficient inventory management is cost optimization. Calculating key numbers such as size lots, reordering points, or safety stocks can be very tedious and expensive if the inventory items are not categorized and one needs to evaluate them one by one. This is where methods such as the ABC analysis come into place. Creating segments in the inventory diminishes the number of calculations and allows for considerable time and money saved. For this analysis, three categories of items, A, B, and C, are created. In theory, A parts should represent around 20% of item and be worth 80% of dollar value. B parts constitute 30% of inventory and account for 15% of the total value. Finally, the C category is made of 50% of articles for a 5% effect on the total costs. As you probably noticed, the ABC analysis relies on the Pareto principle. Before we move to the Excel sheet and see the results we obtained from the ABC analysis, it is worth saying a few words regarding the book-selling industry and its implication in inventories quantities. Indeed, many people today do not go to bookshops to purchase publication. They do it either online on websites like Amazon or purchase a digital version for their electronic reading devices, such as the Kindle. Because they are facing such a fierce competition, bookshops need to have very large inventories so that they do not lose many customers. 10 years ago, if a bookshop did not have one book in stock, customers had no choices but to wait a few days until the bookshop reorder it. Nowadays, they'd rather go online and order it instead of waiting. The data we got from the bookshop is exposed in the Excel sheet above. One can see that many information are not required to conduct an ABC analysis. For the purpose of it, we will only select the reference number, the label, the purchase price, and the quantity. On this sheet, the respective columns have been copied, formatted, and incomplete fields were removed. Now, let's dive into the analysis. The first step is to compute the volume in euro, which simply is the multiplication of unit cost and annual volume. We then apply the formula to the entire column. The total volume needs to be computed using the sum formula. The second step is to compute the percentage volume of each item compared to the total that we just computed. For that, we simply divide the volume in euro with the total volume and copy the formula to the entire column. The third step is to sort the item according to the percentage volume. This can be done using the sort option in the data tab. We want to sort the data according to their percentage volume from the largest to the smallest. This allows us to compute the cumulative volume by adding the percentage volume to one another and apply the formula to the whole column. Finally, as our goal is to class the items according to their volume generation, we should know the percentage of each item in each class. For that, we use the function count from the first item to the item where the cumulative proportion is computed. We then divide by the total number of items, which is computing using the count function of all items in the list. As one can see, the cumulative volume and the cumulative proportion of items account for 100%. We can now draft a graph displaying the proportion of item on the x-axis and the corresponding cumulative volume in percentage on the y-axis. Using the graph, one can see that in our case, 20% of items in inventory generates 67% of annual consumption value. This would be our A class. The next 30% of items generates 16% of additional value, which is the so-called B class. Finally, The last 50% of items are generating 17% of value, being the C class. Compared to the theory, the A part is smaller and B and C have a greater impact on the costs. Bookshop managers should always keep a close eye on the A part, which is the core of its business. This implies a tight inventory control and better sales forecasts. On the other hand, it could manage the B and C parts in a different way, allowing more flexibility with less consequences on its service level. This implies that B and C category might be monitored with diminishing attention. For the C part, only keeping one item in inventory and reorder if necessary is acceptable. Given the larger B and C categories, the bookshop will need to have a tighter control over them, as 33% of the total inventory values cannot be overlooked. Thus, some items of the B part should be incorporated in the frequent reviewing of the A parts. Why? Since the bookshop might encounter a peak of demand over a relatively short period of time, with items like school manuscripts and award-winning books. To sum this up, our objective was to find a method that ensured the bookshop to maintain its targeted service level while optimizing costs associated with holding and ordering stock keeping units. As we've just seen, the ABC analysis exactly corresponds to this definition for the following reasons. Firstly, it characterizes the item according to their importance. Thus, the bookshop is able to maintain a good service level. Secondly, the cost associated with holding and ordering will be minimized as this method categorizes less critical items into B and C parts. As a result, they will need to be reviewed and reordered less often, which considerably reduce the costs.